In today's episode of the Pathmark Presents podcasts, I have a very interesting guest here with me today. I'm with Kristin Hennessy. She's the Director of Marketing at the Band of Hands. And it's a very innovative approach that we're going to be talking here about today. And number one, we're going to be learning about the approach in itself, but also what it means to be a Director of Marketing when you're sort of open up a new category and what challenges, but also opportunities are coming with that. So I'm very pleased to have Kristin on the show. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm thrilled to be here.
Very cool. So give us that overview. What is a Band of Hands all about?
So Band of Hands does everything that small business owners don't want to do when it comes to hiring and having employees. So when you think about a small business owner, so under 20 employees, they've started a business because it's their dream. It's a way to be their own boss, to make money. And what they don't realize is in order to do that, you need employees. And employees come with a lot of liability, time, onboarding, regulations, compliance laws that they have to follow, just administrative burdens. And so we take on all of those risks as an employer of record at a cost lower than you could find anywhere else in the space.
And could you explain employer of record for people who are maybe kind of new to the concept?
Absolutely. It's not the most common term, and most people might not even be aware of it. What it means is, as a business owner, your employees are still your employees, but they're our risk. So they're technically employed through us, and we handle everything when it comes to hiring, onboarding, payroll, HR support, time and attendance tracking, workers' comp, unemployment claims, all the burdens that a small business owner does not want anything to do with, nor pay exorbitant fees to have them done. We do that for you. We also offer job boards for our clients to post jobs, unlimited job postings, and hire pre-screened talent on demand, so they can always be staffed to their potential.
Very cool. Is that sort of limited to local positions, or does that open up also sort of, remote, that I can hire in a different state and it's being hired for me? Like what tell us a little bit about that.
Right now, we're mostly focused on local positions. Every state has their own employment laws. So right now we are really digging into California and Arizona and states in that area. However, we do have the capabilities to span the majority of the US. So what's interesting about the state laws is historically, people could be gig workers. There was the big, gig economy is booming. And then there was a law passed, AB 5, where starting in California, you couldn't be a gig worker anymore. So all of these Uber drivers that became Uber drivers, so they could work on their time when they want, they can't be employed that way anymore. They would have to be employees of Uber. The same goes for a lot of franchise owners, particularly in fitness studios. They have their crew of yoga instructors that may be bouncing around teaching at different studios. Well, California law makes them be employed by that company. So that means taking on a lot of risk, a lot of cost. And while these business owners know that they need to pay their employees, they need to have a payroll schedule, they need to have some sort of hiring process, there's also the things that they don't know, which is if they're not compliant with these laws, it's not a matter of if they're going to get audited, it's when they're going to get audited. So we help educate small business owners to know that this exists, not just in California, in 20 states, at least by now. And we solve for that problem. So we take on your burdens and we handle everything employee related, so you can focus on what you love, which is your business.
Sounds like scaling a team is fun again. In a way.
Exactly.
Very good. I see. So what types of companies do you technically or tend to be working with?
Right. So our focus is small businesses under 20 employees. And we found that the franchise world is where we really resonate. So a franchisor that has a business that has many different franchisee owners trying to start their business, well, they've invested in this franchise. And so, and they're given frameworks in terms of, okay, here's some branding materials, here's how the business runs, but they don't really have processes and policies around how you go about hiring someone. What happens if you don't like the person you hired and you need to fire them? There are so many risks with wrongful termination claims. What if your employee slips and falls? This is a huge workers' comp claim. This could take out a business. So when you follow our framework and you join our platform, your employees are employed through us, even though they're employees. Those risks have essentially disappeared. We are your defense against all of these potential employee risks and costs that could come with hiring and having employees.
Makes sense. How do people and business owners hear about the bands of hands? Like, what are sort of like typical client acquisition channels that you guys are leveraging?
That's a great question. So right now we are a very heavily networked exec team. So we are out in the fields. We are at San Diego HR Forum events. We are a huge military supporter. So we attend events that are helping veterans get employed. We have a monthly article and full page ad in a huge magazine that has 4 million readers every month about how to transition veterans and offering our advice on that. We are also really active in the franchise space. So attending franchise events, talking to every single person there. And so it's more the traditional face-to-face through LinkedIn. We're very well connected on LinkedIn. And then our website kind of serves as the base of backing up everything our conversations have said.
Yeah, interesting. Very good. Just a brief excursion on the website. We'd love to talk about the website. You mentioned it's a referral-based growth at the moment. Just like, how do you think about the website as a as a director of marketing, and what role do you see moving forward?
So the website has actually just been revamped in the last few months. It was not reflective of our current offerings, and it wasn't telling the story that we wanted to tell. So we completely just revamped that. And what I think is key is really resonating with your key audiences by speaking to them directly, understanding what their needs are, rather than just throwing out a bunch of services that we offer that they don't know that they need. So we've tried to make it a very clear and simple website, a page dedicated to small businesses, one to franchises, some information on how it works. We're working on explainer videos. We have a blog section that's building up that I'm based on SEO research, where it's hitting terms that are kind of low competition but high volume. Yep. So using that strategy as well. And then we also we're big on social media, and our social media has a personality. It's hard to have a great personality when it comes to B2B, but then also when you throw in things like payroll, HR, I mean, that can be a snooze fest for people. So we try to really make our social media messaging exciting and, have some personality and some humor in it.
Very cool. Okay, so let's switch gears a little bit, right? I would love to learn a little bit more about yourself, right? So there is a lot of content out there, and we talked about sort of this idea of there's a new category that you guys have, you're trailblazing in a way. How do you keep educating yourself about that situation, where there's something very new that you guys are bringing to the market? Is there like peer groups of marketers, LinkedIn? Like, where do you go in order to keep on educating yourself in that situation?
I like to educate myself on the go. So if I'm in the car or if I'm out for a walk, I'm a podcast connoisseur. So I listen to every sort of marketing podcast. There's one called Lockheed on Marketing, where that's really focused on new categories and what you're doing wrong, what you're doing right, and it's very straight to the point. It's not somebody trying to claim that they know something that doesn't work. I like to go to trustworthy sources. Things like Mindset Mentor, really focused on entrepreneurial strategies and how to keep focused in your business. So that's mainly my go-to of content ingestion. Sometimes when we're looking at screens all day, it can get lost in a sea of words. and everyone seems to have something to say about something. So, be intentional on what you choose to absorb.
Makes sense. As we're slowly coming to an end of the interview, we would have some rapid fire questions for you. Are you ready for those?
Let's do it.
Very cool. What's the last book you read?
The last book I read, Play Bigger. So that is about how to start a new category. And are you trying to compete in a category that you're just going to get lost in, or are you going to create something new? Are you going to be the Uber? Are you going to be the Amazon? And so that's been the last read.
What's the one single thing that your company is focused on the most at the moment?
Changing the world of work, and particularly in franchises. So we want to free small business owners from the burdens that they inevitably have. And we want to make work better for workers by giving them more flexibility with the security of W-2 employment.
If there would be no boundaries in tech, what's the one thing you would fix for your role?
I would love some sort of great technology that wasn't spam. So, we've tried the LinkedIn sort of bot-ish approach, and the second that got big, everyone else was doing it too. So technology had no bounds. I want a way to actually get to people and connect to people in a human way and give them what they want to hear.
What's the last thing that kept you awake at night about the company?
I would say the last thing that kept me awake was, how do we pare down all of the things that we do into something simple? How do we explain what we do simply? And also, what is the why? We spend a lot of time thinking about what's the why, Simon Sinek's The Why. And I think once we came to that, I'm not losing sleep, because what we're doing is helping small business owners not lose sleep.
Very good. And I would love to do a little bit of time travel, if you would allow. If we go back to the Vanderbilt University, right? You're heading off of your education. You're going into different marketing roles from there on. What's the one advice you would give yourself, for your last day of education or formal education?
That's such a great question, and I've thought about this a lot over the years. And when I graduated from Vanderbilt, I went right into Accenture, a huge Big Four consulting firm. And then I was at Deloitte doing Deloitte.com. So two huge companies where you come in not really with a lot of business savvy sense. You tend to get focused on your specific role versus understanding the company and why your role exists and what you're doing to help the company. Because if you're just focused on your job and your daily tasks, it's not going to be as productive as if you understand the value of what you're doing.
That makes a whole lot of sense. So it's that bigger picture thinking, even though straight, just joining into the career. That makes
right. Come in understanding why the company exists, what they want to accomplish, and what value your role brings to them, well before trying to just focusing on, okay, what are the daily tasks I need to be doing?
Kristin, I really appreciate that you took the time with us today and be a guest on Pathmark Presents. I want to give you the very last word. If somebody would be forgetting all that we discussed about Band of Hands, what's the one thing that they should remember?
The one thing that they should remember is that what you don't know could impact your business. And by changing the world of work, we are a win-win solution for both business owners and employees.
Thanks a lot for being a guest on Pathmark Presents.
Thank you so much. This was a pleasure.